Jay here, Full-Time Devils, and joining me today is Joe Smith from Stretford Paddock. How are you doing, mate?
I'm good, how are you?
Everything feels a bit too normal with you at the minute. When I see you on the screen, you're usually dancing around, riding people and doing all sorts of madness.
Well, there is a little bit of that coming later tonight, actually. Funny you should mention that. But yeah, it's a bit... We all have to take stock of the situation, don't we?
I say this every time me and you're on, but if you've not checked out Joe on Stretford Paddock, I implore you to do so, especially in these testing times, because it is a bit of light relief. If you want insightful analysis and tactical nous, probably not. If you want to have a laugh for, half an hour, 45 minutes?
Yeah, 20 minutes, half an hour.
Then go and check it out. Is it every night?
No, Late Night Live is on Friday nights. At 10 o'clock live on Stretford Paddock.
There you go. Go and have a look. Today we're going to talk about 10 things Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got to address when he returns as Manchester United manager, whether that's the end of this season, whether we start the next season, however that might be. He's going to come back and he's going to have a lot to sort out. So me and you are going to have a look at 10 things which should be his priority. So we're going to start from the back. Okay. Goalkeeper. Now, you might think, well, why has he got to sort anything out about goalkeeper? David De Gea's goalkeeper. Move on. But Dean Henderson, he's doing bits at Sheffield United. And also, let's say, for example, we end up starting the next season. Does Dean Henderson come in as a new keeper? Does he stay at Sheffield United on loan? Is he the number 2? There's all sorts of caveats to this, but it is an issue that Ole needs to address.
Well, also, not even necessarily next season. I'm guessing Dean Henderson's loan ends on the 31st of June.
Oh, controversy. Yeah.
Does it? I don't know that it does. A lot of them do. Do they? Do we know?
31st of June isn't a thing, so there might be a flaw in that plan.
The 30th of June. 30 days have September, April.
It's actually May, the 30th of February.
June.
His loan ends.
Anyway, the end of June. Yeah. 30th of June. The 31st of June, also known as the 1st of July. If we come back after that, is he eligible to play for United? We don't know about that yet, do we? Yeah. We don't know how contracts are going to work. But on a sort of bigger picture thing, he does look excellent, doesn't he? And also, would you say for the 2021 season, he's in with a shout of being our goalkeeper? I think he's in with a shout. I don't think it will happen.
Right.
Just because De Gea's on a hell of a lot of money.
Is he the highest paid goalkeeper in the history of association football?
I don't know that he is, but I won't be surprised at all. I'm sure he probably is. I think between him and Pogba, and I think it might even be him who's United's highest paid player, other than Alexis Sanchez, but he's kind of half off the books at this point. So he's on a ridiculous amount of money. I think getting rid of him might, not that I want to get rid of him, but let's say that Solskjaer wanted to. I think that might be a harder task now than you think. I'm not entirely sure who would take him and who could afford him. So for that basis, I reckon it will be De Gea, as good as Henderson's been.
If it was your choice, would that be the case?
Yeah, one more season. Yeah. I think Henderson seems to have found a sort of second home at Sheffield United, and you see him posting on social media, you see him talking in interviews. He still loves the idea of playing for United, being a legend at United. So I think he understands the situation with De Gea. He seems to be a relatively level-headed guy. And you would assume that, if you say to him 1 more year at Sheffield United, and then you can come in and replace De Gea. I think that's, kind of works for everyone, really.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm sort of a little bit on the fence. My enthusiasm for De Gea has waned a lot.
You're not that keen, are you?
No, and I've been getting quite a bit of stick from it because it becomes more and more evident, and I've gone from being an ardent fan at the beginning of the season to getting a bit more like, you know what, maybe it's now the time for him to move on.
The goalie gloves are off.
Yeah, and I think, if I'm being brutally honest, I wouldn't be that disappointed if Dean Henderson was our number 1 for the next season, whenever that may kick off, whether it is the 31st of June or whenever. Moving on, another conundrum Ole may find himself in is left back. Now, on the surface, you go, well, why is that an issue? Luke Shaw's playing arguably the best football since his injury that he's played. Brandon Williams is still very young. Surely Luke Shaw is your starting left back. But he hasn't always been a starting left back, and in many ways, some of his best performances have been back as part of a 3-man defence. So if I make it black and white and say, we're having a left back, who is it? Who would you go with out of them two?
I still, as good as Shaw's been in it, I think he has genuinely improved, and it looks as though the fighting for position has helped him out and all that. I still think against the likes of Aston Villa and Watford and Norwich and those sorts of teams, I don't really trust him to penetrate that defence, to provide those overlapping, sort of consistently dangerous runs and attacks. in the way that I do with Brandon Williams. I know, Shaw can go forward and does like to go forward, but I don't quite have it in my head that he's, this excellent attacker. And I think he's looked excellent at left centre-back. I think he's even looked good at left-back since, we've played left centre-back in a few games, and we've played him at left-back in a few games as well recently. I think he's looked better, but I think I do like Brandon Williams going forward. I think it will be 50-50. I think they're going to both get a lot of playing time next season. I wouldn't want to pick one, that's the left-back and we're sorted.
Sorry, I'm aware that I don't want to sound all funny, but I'm aware that I have been touching my face quite a lot. So we do use, we are conscious of that, guys. No, you may scoff, but people do comment and ask you, well, we are taking the necessary precautions. No, I'm with you. The thing I think as well, he's going the whole hog.
Oh, my eyes. Carry on. Oh, that stings out. If you've got sensitive skin.
He's bringing the Paddock man.
If you've got sensitive skin, don't put any antibacterial wipe on it.
We tried to keep it serious. We got 2 questions in and the wheels came off. One thing with Brandon Williams is people forget, and I know it sounds crazy, he is only 19.
Yes.
So he's going to get better.
Yeah.
So I think at the moment, I think Shaw's probably edging it, but I can see Brandon Williams catching him up.
Yeah.
I really can, and I think it may even be a case of when we go back, if we have to finish the season or we start a new season, at first it's Luke Shaw, and then Williams sort of gradually becomes the first choice, because I think if he improves on the trajectory he has been improving, sooner or later I think he's potentially going to be the best left back in the league, let alone at Manchester United.
And another final thing as well, we saw Brandon Williams against LASK play at right back, which is another thing, another sort of string to his bow, if you will.
Is he right-footed?
He's right-footed.
Yeah, I thought so.
But he's sort of become a left-back in recent years. But just that versatility. We saw Ashley Young get 35 games a season because he could play both sides. So
can we just stop for 1 second and see how absolutely fucking mental that is, that a 19-year-old who's right-footed can play left-back for Manchester
United. It's great, isn't it? It's amazing.
And do it so well.
I know. And
it's just like, it gets dismissed again as like, he can play left-back, That's ridiculous.
No.
So again, that makes you think that probably for the time being, I'm with you on that one. I think it will be Shaw, but moving forward, it wouldn't surprise me if by the end of next season, whenever that may be, we see Brandon Williams as our first choice left back. Sort of brings me on to our next question. Now, I've asked you this as 4-4-2 or 3-5-2, but you could argue that 3-5-2, bear with me, is actually 5-3-2.
Yeah.
What formation do you see Ole going? Does it change? Does he stick with one? I mean, I've said 4-4-2, but it could be 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, the usual formation.
The easiest question would be here, instead of going through that rigmarole, is what formation does Ole go with next season? Does he stick with one? Does he change it? Or if he does stick with one, which one is it?
I think if he sticks with one, it will be the 4-2-3-1. But I think he likes the idea of being able to have a team that can play multiple formations. Yeah. I think he's the sort of manager that he does change his tactics to different teams. He's not a kind of, that Pep style of one size fits all. This is how we play every game, no matter what.
Do you like that? Do you like that?
Yeah, I do like that.
The fact that he changes.
Well, the reason I like it is because he does it, and we win a lot against those teams where we change to the 3-5-2. Yeah. So it's clearly a side of his sort of managing that is one of his better things. Do you know what I mean? That's a pro and a positive and a plus to his managerial style. He's good at doing that.
It's weird,
I do like it.
Because part of me always thinks, like, when you get romantic about Fergie, you think we didn't bother with the opposition. We just set up and it was 4-4-2 against Chelsea, said Giggs on the wings and Cantona and Hughes up front or whatever, and we'd never, deviate from that. But then you think, actually, we did quite a lot. So we did change quite a lot.
Watch the first leg of the Champions League semi-final in 2008 against Barcelona.
Exactly. That wasn't how we set up against Watford or whatever.
Exactly. So, I like that he can, I just like that he's good at that. And he is definitely good at that. Probably the thing he's been best at since he joined is how he sets up against big teams, how he, his win record against those teams. And that is as a result of changing his style and changing his formation. So, I think 4-2-3-1 primarily and change it to that 3-5-2.
Are you happy with that defensively when they do change it at the back?
Yeah, I think it's annoying one because we lost to Liverpool, I suppose, but the City game and the Everton game, we did kind of transition back into that sitting back 3-5-2 formation, and I thought we looked excellent defensively. Even
Scousers, I think, on paper it's like a comfortable win for them, but considering the players we had out,
and it was,
and the way he set up, I actually think we did okay. And I know people are going to give me pelters and go, is that what it's come to? You're just happy with losing to Liverpool? No one hates losing to Liverpool more than me, I guarantee you, right? But in the context of the game and the way that it went and players that we had at our disposal and compared to what they had at theirs, I think it almost works. It wasn't that far off working. Obviously, it didn't work because we lost, but it wasn't that far off. So, yeah, I'm with you on that. I think there's nothing wrong with being a bit malleable. Yes, 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1 could work, even though I'm not a massive fan of two older midfielders. But it's working when he's switching. And he's getting a tune in it at certain players. Luke Shaw, like we mentioned earlier, is...
Yeah, exactly.
We've got who's that on the desk there? Must be someone with no experience of a YouTube channel. Oh, no, it's Mr. Stephen Howson. Here's another one. Daniel James. Right, I've just... Yes or no? Again, let's keep black and white. Is he a star for Manchester United? Everyone's fit. It's a big game. Does Daniel James get in the team?
Yes.
Oh.
I think he does.
Well,
we're not predicting transfers and ins and people to replace him in the squad.
No, we're not.
I think
but this is what Ollie's got. When Ollie gets back, this is what he's got to deal with, right?
Yeah.
So we're saying Ollie gets back. However that is, we've got to finish the season.
I think
right. I've got to pick my strongest team. Is Danny James.
Well, especially you said the first time you said it's a big game, which I think is one of the sort of differences in my answer there. It's a big game, so that means presumably we're playing against a big team where we might need to be a bit more counter-attacking.
Even so, right, if we have to finish the league, the first game back is going to be big. We're still going for top four.
Yeah.
If we start a new season, the first game of that season is going to be big because it sets the tone almost, even though Chelsea didn't quite set the tone in the season. You get where I'm coming from. So I think it is going to be a big game where... If everyone's fit, he's going to pick his strongest team. Yeah. He's not going to be thinking, I'm going to rest some of them for next week. So, does Daniel James start? And you're saying yes?
Yeah, I think he's currently the best right winger we have at the club.
So, I know you've answered this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Over Mason as the other option.
Well, I like Mason, but
I think that's the only other option in it, really.
Assuming as well, you're saying the game. The first game back will be Tottenham, won't it? And I think the pace... If it's Tottenham,
we start a new season, and it's whoever's the opening day. So
well, I think the pace of Dan James is more threatening. I think he looked really good against City. He made a few... His decision-making wasn't great, and a couple of times he could have passed it back to Fernandes, but that was only... Martial was in a similar position, and he didn't pass it. He had a shot as well. So I think that kind of decision-making sometimes... You want every decision he makes to, it's just because he's young and he's not got it yet. But, experienced players like Martial didn't make that pass either. So I think it's easy to, see it from a top-down perspective, and you should have made that pass and get everything right. But I thought his running, his determination, his aggression, his runs in behind, he was so dangerous throughout the whole game, and his fitness as well. All full 90 minutes, or maybe he came off late on, but he was sprinting the whole game against City, and I think... We haven't got anyone else with that energy. Mason's a good, great striker, great finisher, but he doesn't have that pressing and that speed and that fitness that Dan James has got. And I think he starts on the right for me, yeah. What do you think?
It's difficult because if you took Mason out of the equation, it'd be a no-brainer for me. I think, he's 100%. He'd be in. I think if you've got Mason, if Rashford's fit, and Martial, I think that as a front three.
Yeah, I love that. I love that as a front three, don't get me wrong.
I'm with you on Dan James. I think he's had a lot of unnecessary stick. Okay, he did go off the boil a little bit. I think people forget, you paid 15 million for a player that didn't play any top flight football. He went through a lot off the pitch as well, and I don't understand why people dismiss that. Me and you spoke about that a few times. So, and I'm with you. I think he has improved recently. I think, he seems to have kicked on a bit. We've sort of seen the form that we saw earlier in the season. So I wouldn't be gutted if I saw Daniel James started. I just think, for me, if I was picking my strongest team, I'd probably go with Mason Greenwood. But I think I agree with what you're saying about Daniel James, and I agree with what you're saying about him getting forward as well. And sort of, he has that, and he always wants to get forward and get down that wing as well and whip it in. And I think that maybe with the likes of... Because Bruno... Even though he's a midfielder, he's making those runs. Yeah. It's encouraging others to make those runs. So I think someone like Dan James could thrive with it. Because there's times... I mentioned Kanchelskis earlier. Kanchelskis, what he used to do, you just get down the wing and just lever it into the box. He didn't even look who was there. It was just your job to get on the end of it. Yeah. And the problem we've got at United at the minute, or this season, is Rashford likes to drop back. Yeah. Martial likes to drop back. So if you've got someone like Dan James, who is very quick anyway, so he's going to keep up with it at the best of times, and he's whipping it in, sometimes he's whipping it into no one. Yeah, and not only is there someone there to find a little bit more now, I think the introduction of Bruno has made the rest of the team make those runs more often. 100%. So Dan James 100%. Looks more effective because he knows if I sprint past, who was it, Mendy against City when Mendy came on, if I sprint past him, the ball is going to land at my feet in 2 seconds, and everyone has that feeling about him. I think that just makes him that bit more dangerous as well. You're beginning to talk me around now when you're talking about Bruno.
See? Got it.
I'm sticking to my guns, Mason, but it's very close. Paper thin margins. I'm not going to argue too much. We've got a whole 4 questions about mentioning Paul Pogba, so let's rectify that mistake.
Yeah.
Can Paul Pogba and Bruno play together? There's something that I was going to have to think about, because you mentioned earlier a 4-2-3-1 formation or whatever.
Yep. 2
holding midfielders, which seems to be Ole's sort of choice a lot of the time.
Yeah.
He's probably going to have to sacrifice them, is it? Or he's going to have to move Bruno or Pogba around to play both together? You know, can they play together?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely. We saw, I mean, I just think, you look at teams like City and that, you know, they often have a lot of attacking midfielders playing for them. Liverpool are the opposite, where they have almost sort of 3. They've got Wijnaldum who likes to sit back. They've got Henderson who likes to sit back.
Liverpool's got 3 bang average midfielders in the middle of a load of top players, aren't they?
Yeah, so there's multiple ways of doing things, and I think Paul Pogba is a good deep line playmaker. I think he's excellent in that role. I think alongside either Fred, McTominay or Matic, I would keep him a bit deeper because his passing range, his long passing is excellent. And then I think you can still play Fernandes in that 10.
It's weird, yeah. Definitely. I get that. I'd be tempted to do it the other way around, because I think Fernandes can be a bit more box to box. But I do get where you're coming from, and I agree with you. I'm not going to argue with you for the sake of it, because I agree. They can play together. They're that good.
Amazing.
I mean, I'm not even right. Paul probably gets a lot of stick. Some of it's deserved. And this season, whichever way you look at it, it's been massively disappointing. We wanted to see if he wasn't going to move on, something out of him. He's had injuries. He's not played. We've not seen any of him. I want to see him and Bruno together. At least...
Just give us 5 games of it.
Yeah, just at least the end of the season.
Imagine.
Just get us Champions League football. Because I think you'd have the fear factor back at United. You know, when teams just come to Old Trafford and be scared. And they'd go a goal up and be worried. They'd think, oh no, we've upset them now. We'd end up winning 5-1 or whatever. And now teams just don't have that. And I think with Bruno, we brought a bit of that back. And I think if you throw in Pogba together, look at our midfield, it's a mouth-watering prospect.
And also, when you think of a front 6 where you've got either Matic, Fred or McTominay, you've got Pogba next to him, you've got Bruno, you've got Rashford and Martial, and then whoever it is on that right wing. All of a sudden, you've got 5 people who can score. Whereas when you take, you know, either one of Rashford or Martial has been injured for a lot of the season, you take them out, you put someone instead of them, you put Lingard, you put Pereira, and you put an out-of-form Matic in. We couldn't score.
I mean, the thing with Lingard and Pereira, and I always issue this disclaimer when I talk about him, but I'm not going to change it, I will do. I think, especially with Lingard over the years, he's been a good servant, scored some important goals, but he's having an awful spell. And it's not even a spell, it's like a year or whatever.
Yeah.
Pereira, again, I've defended and stuck up for him in the past, but he's been almost non-existent when he has played. And teams aren't going to be worried about those players.
No.
Teams aren't going to be thinking, oh no, I'm up against Jesse Lingard this afternoon. Or, we've got to keep our eye on Pereira. They will be saying that about Pogba. They will be saying that about Bruno, and then you throw in the other players that you mentioned as well. It does give you sort of that edge. Leads me on to our next question rather nicely, actually. Right, we've got 3 what I would class as holding midfielders. Possibly you can argue some of them are a bit more box to box in Matic, Fred, and McTominay. Now, all of them will not start.
No.
Possibly you're gonna have to knock at least one of them off, maybe even 2.
Yeah, if
Pogba's back. So going off what you were saying, which I agreed with, you're going to have one of them, which I think can work. I think you can have one of them holding midfielders as a holding midfielder and have Pogba and Bruno doing bits further up the pitch. So who's it going to be? Matic, Fred, or Scott McSauce? And don't just go off the goal that you've just seen at Old Trafford, because otherwise McTominay would be captain.
Yeah, exactly. It's so hard. It really is really hard, because I think the way Matic and Fred have come back from the perception of them when last season ended to now is unlike anything I've ever seen. Matic was gone. He basically said he wanted to leave. We were like, he's like not even thinking about him anymore. It wasn't like Pogba where he's like, he wants to leave, but he's such a big player for us that we have to think about it. Matic was out of sight, out of mind. Is he even a United player anymore? And Fred was the worst 50 million anyone's ever spent, including Torres at Chelsea. And now he's our player of the season, Fred is.
You know, this is what I like about you. It's like, you like me. Just own it, man. Just admit it, right? Yeah. It makes me laugh when people go, you know what, I always rated Matic. No. I always said we should have kept him. I always thought Fred would be the best player in the world. No, you didn't.
No, right? You got to be able to change your opinion.
It's okay to say, you know what, it surprised me, because I was ready to drive him to the airport. And in Matic, I forgot he played for Manchester United at one point.
It was gone.
Yeah. He was like, who's he? Oh yeah, we've got him. And then he came back and was like, shit hot.
Yeah.
Fred, I was on the fence. I thought, not looking great.
No.
I gave him some sort of leeway because I think he had a tough time of it under Mourinho for no fault of his own. But he's excelled.
Yeah.
And McTominay's a weird one for me because I rate McTominay, but I think many fans are almost unwilling to admit any faults in his game.
Yeah.
And it's like he almost gets a little bit overhyped at times. I think he's a fantastic midfielder.
Yeah.
But I think he's improving, and I think he's got some improvements to make as well, especially in his passing at times.
And that's what makes this such a difficult question, because Matic, as good as he's been, he's 31. We know his limitations. He's not going to improve. He's going to decline slowly, hopefully slowly, or he might just fall off another cliff like he did. 18 months ago.
You remember Everton last season, 4-0. And out of a team full of shite, he was the shittest one.
And he looked like it was almost like a two fingers to United. It was like disrespectfully bad.
When it was ridiculous. Some of them won't be here next season.
Yeah,
everyone was just like Nemanja Matic. He's gone. So I don't know, man. If you had to pick one, I feel like you're talking your way out of Matic. If I'm being honest, there.
The thing is, I am talking my way out of him long term, but I think as a single number 6 to play alongside either a deep line Pogba or Fernandes, I think he's the most suited to that.
He is.
He's the most defensive, the best defensive positioning of any of those three. Fred's the most industrious. McTominay's the best box-to-box player. It's a good problem to have where we've got 3 players of kind of equal standard.
We've gone from none to 3.
I know. and these
are the blink of an eye.
We would have killed for this 3 to be our midfield a month ago, let alone... We have to drop that 2
midfield,
of them.
right? Matic, Fred and McTominay is better than Liverpool's first choice midfield. Don't at me.
Yeah.
Right.
So long term, I'm thinking Fred or McTominay.
Right.
Maybe short term, once we've got, like you said, Pogba and Fernandes in the same team, Matic.
I can live with that.
I really can't.
I think the real headache is going to come when Ole's going to have to make a decision longer term about Fred and McTominay.
Yeah.
I think eventually, right, I think it'll be the point where you think, all right, bring Matic in for the cups or, the sort of the games where I need to rest players or whatever. But I think he's going to get in a position where he's going to have to make either Fred or McTominay his main man in the sort of holding midfield role. And it's weird because I think it's paper-thin margins between them. I do feel like you say...
I think, McTominay's got a better passing range. He's much more deadly in front of goal. Fred can't shoot. He's through balls.
If Fred stops shooting, it's perfect. But he just doesn't.
Yeah, defensively, I prefer Fred. I think he's a bit more industrious. I think his energy, wins the ball back a lot. But going forward, I prefer McTominay. I don't know.
Guys, do get involved in the comments. Me and Joe just chatting, and as you may have gathered, we're not experts. We just have an opinion. We'll hear what you think, because it's weird whenever we talk about this as well. I noticed in the comments, Fred and McTominay do divide opinion a lot.
Yeah,
it's one of those where you're beginning to form like McSauce and Fred FC.
Yeah.
So even though we don't like pitting players against each other at United, this is where it makes sense because they're both going for the same position.
Yeah.
Right. Talking of shooting, free kicks, Rashford or Bruno?
Bruno. I think that one that Rashford scored against Chelsea, great way to bow out. One of the best free kicks I've ever seen. But he scores like...
Bowing out at free kicks at 22 years old, mate.
You've had your day. I just mean, in this squad, I think Rashford scores 1 in 50 and it's the best free kick you've ever seen. But sort of... there's probably some stat that says that Rashford gets more on target or Rashford's free kicks lead to more goals than Bruno's, but...
Listen, I don't think anyone that watches... Full-Time Devils knows we absolutely adore Marcus Rashford.
Maybe my favourite player in the squad.
Yeah, no, probably. I think he is my favourite player. I think the only sort of slight caveat you could put on this one is maybe if it's like very far out.
Oh yeah, if it's 30, if it's 35 yards and
you might say to Rashford, go on then, do what you did at Stamford Bridge.
But if it's on the edge of that box, I think, and even up until recently, when Mata's on the pitch, it's not even a certain that Rashford will take it. So it's not like he's...
That annoyed me. I said, don't mean to go backwards, but when Fred decided he's going to take it last kick of the game almost at the Etihad, I was like, Mata, just tell him no. Stop being the nice guy. But no, I think
Bruno for me there.
Yeah, you tend to be... I find myself a little bit more hopeful when now Bruno's in with a free kick than I would with Marcus.
He's only taken about 3 and he's hit the post with one of them, hasn't he? And nearly scored with another one as well, so he's...
It's weird because I was hoping this season could be the one that Marcus, because you remember when Ronnie used to take free kicks, his record was shocking.
Yeah.
And then at against Newcastle, when we won 6-0, he scored one, and he never looked back then. But I was hoping
he got the one against Sunderland, and then obviously the one against Portsmouth as well.
And I was hoping that would be the case with Marcus, but it doesn't seem to have happened. Who knows? So again, it's a nice problem to have.
Yeah.
Which brings me on to my next question. Penalties.
This is
again the same two players, because I think Marcus had made penalties his own after some toing and throwing.
Yeah.
As Gary Neville, you may have noticed, pointed out once. But then Bruno's come in, and has he scored 2 penalties, Bruno?
2 and 2.
2 and 2. I don't like the way he takes penalties, makes me nervous. It reminds me of the 2008 Champions League final with Ronnie, with you standing.
Yeah, where Czech just went, I'll save that.
But he's scoring him. Does Marcus come back in?
Well, to give you a few numbers, Jay, and these are guessing. I'm remembering these from a few weeks ago, so these may well be wrong, but they're roughly in the right ballpark. I think
I won't know if they are wrong. I
think Rashford has scored 4 in 6 or something like that.
Right,
he's missed a couple at least, hasn't he?
Yeah,
and he's actually really good at penalty. Like his technique and he hits it so well. Like, he's really good. But I think Bruno scored something like 22 in 24, which is that's consistent. That's Ricky Lambert levels.
That is Ricky Lambert levels. Because
you Ricky Lamberts, you Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Up until Palace, Rashford hadn't missed, had he?
No.
He missed against Palace, he missed against Norwich.
Yeah.
And he missed.
I think that's it.
Is that it?
Maybe he's missed 3, but he's definitely missed 2.
Right, he's missed 2.
In 6 or 7
Palace,
attempts.
Norwich. I think that is that it. Someone get involved in the comments if you're missing one. But I think that's his miss. But like you say,
Bruno's got like a over 90% penalty success. But the thing is, I like strikers to take penalties. Because
do you know what as well? I think that he gets a lot of grief, Marcus, for his stats and his goals. And I think sometimes it helps a striker who's got like double figures and the strikers don't care. Do you think when you hear Alan Shearer's record, does anyone go, he scored 195 goals? Oh, and also 65 penalties? No.
I think, sometimes people say that. You see that on Twitter and stuff. Yeah, well, they've not scored that many other than set pieces, dead balls. It's like, it is a compliment to a player if they are the best penalty taker in a team. That's an extra thing that's good about them, not something that you can hit him over the head with. If you're the penalty taker in a team and you score loads of penalties, you are clearly, of some sort of respect and standing in the squad to even be considered to take penalties. And if you're the best penalty taker in a team full of, top-class footballers, that's a great sort of badge on your chest.
If anyone thought it was easy to stand up in the 93rd minute against Paris and bang that into the back of the net, then you're an absolute moron. So penalties do count for a reason.
Yeah, but I think if you go in the numbers, it's Bruno, but I just, like you said, I think I like my attacker. I like an attacker to take the penalties just because I think goals give more confidence to strikers than they do to anyone else. And sometimes you're going through a bit of rough form, you stick a penalty and that can turn things around.
I don't want as well. He seems a pretty level-headed guy, Marcus Rashford. I just don't want him getting took off him for no reason of his own.
Yeah, it's a bit.
He's a bit harsh. Like, he's come back from injury. He's obviously trying his hardest to get back as quick as he can. We all know how he was flying before he got injured. He comes back in. He's got Bruno behind him. Great. I'm going to have all these through balls. I'm going to have all these passes. It's going to be amazing. And then he said, by the way, but you're not taking penalties anymore.
Yeah, it's a bit AM9 Zlatan, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where it's like, actually, AM14 or 11 or whatever it was. So, I don't know. It's hard, isn't it?
I'd probably stick with Marcus.
I'd say give it Bruno.
But don't add pressure on him. But I think if he misses one, it's Bruno.
Yeah,
until he misses, and then we'll give it to Tony.
Yeah,
it's mad though, isn't it? How we keep going for this. We've got options.
Yeah,
we didn't have anyone who could take penalties a few weeks ago, and now we're arguing over it. Youngsters, right? Yeah. I'm not talking about your Brandon Williams and your Mason Greenwoods, but we've got a whole host of youngsters. Some of them we don't know what's going to happen long term, but we've got Chong, we've got Gomez, we've got Garner. I can throw Levitt into that. How is Ole going to use them when we come back? Do they have a part to play? If we have to see this season out, do they have a part to play in it?
They definitely do, because we're going to be having at least 9, depending on what goes on with the FA Cup. I think it's up to 17 or 18 games we might be playing if we get to the final of all of them.
Fucking bell.
So if we're playing 18 games, we're going to have to play them probably before September, you would think, or August. I mean, ideally August, but we're not, let's say 18 games in 2 months.
Yeah.
So that's 3 games a week for 8 weeks or 9 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I mean,
do you know what? It's weird.
Think they are going to get used.
Actually, if it did come to that, I think we'd be in a pretty strong position to handle it. I don't think we've got we've not had the biggest squad that I've seen at Manchester United by any stretch, but I think some of these youngsters can step up.
Yeah, definitely.
Not all of them, but I think the likes of Garner, we've not seen a lot of, the likes of Gomez, we've seen a little bit of him. I don't think he's had the chances that he probably wanted. So I think we might be able to handle that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure on Ole, but I think they've got a part to play.
Yeah, I think if we've got all those games to play, they're going to be getting games, definitely.
Right, final one, and this is one that's probably the biggest question, and again, it'll divide opinion, and people even saying, why are you discussing it? We're discussing it because it's obviously an issue that needs addressing, and that is, I know we've mentioned Pogba playing alongside Bruno, but does Ole go all out to keep Paul Labile Pogba at Manchester United Football Club?
Can I ask a question before
you can do whatever you want, mate.
When you say keep, does that mean he just stays one more season and runs down his contract, or by keep, is he signing an extension? It's
a very good question. I hadn't actually thought of that, but allow me to have a little ponder. I want to keep him.
So he's signing an extension.
So, as they say, buy into the project.
So he's signing an extension.
Yeah. Does he go out and say, listen, enough of this footsie Real Madrid and Juve and all that nonsense. You've done all that. Well, you've done it at Juve. Real Madrid, if they wanted you, they would have bought you by now. They don't.
Yeah.
Stop listening to me now. We've got Bruno. We've got Agallo. What more do you want? Get involved.
I think he should make a big effort to get Pogba to sign an extension.
Because I think if Pogba signs an extension, and if he thinks to himself, if he forgets this idea that he's going somewhere else and just thinks, right, I'm in here now. Yeah, I've got some good attackers in front of me.
Yeah.
I've got a decent midfield behind me. I've got a decent midfield alongside me.
Decent defence.
There's a title challenge not that far away. Now, before everyone gets to the comments, I'm not saying we're going to talent for the title next season. I'm not saying that. But I think the right signings in 2 or 3 transfer windows.
A side of United's quality and size is only ever 3 seasons away from a title push. We've seen Chelsea do it, we've seen City do it, we've seen Liverpool do it. So we're hopefully, I think, 1 season towards that from where we were last season. 2 more.
It's actually
perfect scenarios. We're not far off.
It's not even our 11. I think if you look at our 11, we've shown we're capable of beating the
top
teams.
sides.
It's when we get 1 or 2 injuries and you're looking at bringing in the likes of Lingard and Pereira and players of that ilk that you start to struggle. So I think you're right. I think that we're not as far away as perhaps many people think. Certainly not as the table would say. I don't think we're 37 points.
Yeah, I mean, off,
which is where we are. I know we are physically, but I mean,
what City are 25 points behind Liverpool, and they've been better than them for the last 2 years and got 99 or 98 and 100 points. So it doesn't take much for you to drop 25 points, does it?
Exactly. So I think but for me. I don't know, actually.
Get rid.
I'm sort of contradicting what I've said in earlier, thinking about earlier videos where I've just said,
don't worry about that. Again, sometimes you think one thing, sometimes you think another thing.
You're very convincing, Joe. I think it's because you look like Jesus. I feel like I just buy into
follow my word.
My word, my son. Everything will be okay. I have said this in the past, and I think, you know what, I'm going to stick with it, actually, so forgive me if I'm just contradicting myself during a video, but it might be best if we're all concerned if Pogba did just move on.
Okay.
Purely because we've been here before. We're going through this cycle. And I think it would, if he did stay, I won't be moaning. So people can go, oh, you didn't want him to stay.
Yeah.
If he committed, and I thought he was committed to the cause and he stayed and he signed an extension, I'd be happy that he's a good player. But I just feel like maybe it's just, we're kidding ourselves a little bit. And also, if he does go, does that mean we're bringing in someone like, I don't know, Maddison or Grealish? I'm not saying, again, that they're necessarily as good as Paul Pogba, but perhaps a bit more consistent. But and also, if they came, they'd want to be here.
Yeah.
And maybe we see them playing like 40, 50 games a season. So I don't know, mate. I think.
Also, what I will add, to your side of the argument is Paul Pogba's 26 and he's had basically a season out with a persistent niggling injury that hasn't been. I mean, it has been a serious injury, but it's not like a known leg break, knee ligament. It's like a. Has he just got bad ankles now?
I worry about that. Thing. It's been portrayed in the press and everything. I worry that's putting people off him.
I think it might well be,
because I've always had this theory that there's not been a real desire from certain clubs to sign Paul Pogba.
Yeah.
Because you remember when Barca came in offered, was it Yeremina 40 million and someone else, and it was like, don't be stupid.
Yeah.
And then Real Madrid, Zidane's a fan. Fucking course he is. Do you know what I mean? That's not mean anything. Real Madrid went out and spent all that money in the summer, but Hazard and all the rest of it. Didn't give a concrete offer for Paul Pogba at a time when maybe United would have been like, okay.
Susceptible.
Juve again would love to have him back there. Again,
but have go on then.
Yeah, well, where's your bid? And also, the money that he's worth and that United want, we'd at least want 100 million, and that's probably the low end of what we want. Who's coming up with that money?
Yeah.
A Barca, a Real Madrid, we've just been through all that. And I look at it and they go, well, he's just had a season off.
Yeah.
did we want him?
With multiple long-term but nondescript injuries.
Yeah. So it's weird, and I think it might just put people off, and they'll be like, do you know what? And also with Paul Pogba, he's not that. I know his stats from last season were great, and he did score goals and assists, but he's not like that Hazard type who's an out-and-out match winner. Yeah. I know Hazard struggled, but when you're buying Pogba, you buy him and you have to have good players around him. Because United fans are detriment at times. So I don't know, mate. I think that...
Well, if I was another club, if I was Real Madrid or Barcelona, who's like, especially Barcelona, who have bought Coutinho and Dembele for over 100 million quid, and they've both not failed, but Dembele is ridiculously injury prone, and Coutinho's already basically left. They, how many times can they keep spending 100 million quid on people and it not working? Yeah. Madrid spent 350 million last year. If I was them, I'd be thinking, let him have one more season at United, prove he can be fit, prove he can come back, because he's not going to get the chance to do that on a long-term basis this season. I would think, give him another year there, he'll be 28, we'll get him then. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like you said, this season has potentially put people off him a little bit.
Sad to see. I hope there's an happy ending with Paul Pogba. It feels like it's just been a saga.
Surely you can't leave twice. It's like when you're going out with someone and then you break up with them because they're a bit rough, and then they're like, actually, you know what, I've changed, I've come back. You let them come back again, they're like, you're still the same. You're the same person. It didn't actually.
They dump you and then say, go on, I'll give you another chance, and then they were like, actually, you are really annoying.
Sounds like me.
I struggle to believe that, Joe. Well, we've probably not cleared anything up during that discussion. But we've agreed on most of that. Yeah, keep on, bro. I'll let him go. That was the two options. Listen, we all want to see Paul Pogba playing well for Manchester United. That's the thing we want to see. Whether it happens or not is another case. Those are 10 things we think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to address whenever the season starts again, or the new season starts, however that may be. Things that he's got to look at. Do get involved in the comments. Let us know whether you agree, whether you disagree, whether you think there's anything we've missed off that list that is a more pressing issue. Joe, final plug, where can people find you?
Over on Stretford Paddock and on Twitter at Joe Smith 93.
And we know it's a tough time for everyone, so do keep yourself safe and do reach out to people if you're struggling. We know it's not the easiest. We will be bringing you lots of content over the coming weeks, as usual, on Full Time Devils. Might have to think differently because we're not able to get out and about, and obviously there's no games at the minute, but we'll have content coming. And as Joe's mentioned, he'll have loads of content on Stretford Paddock. So don't forget to check that out as well, and hit like, share and subscribe here. I've been Jay, that's been Joe. Thanks for watching.